So how do you identify the story or narrative for coverage? This is the big thing, right? This is the big $1,000,000 question. How do the news producers, editors, how do the editors at TechCrunch, how do the editors at the Wall Street Journal approve these story ideas? Well, it all comes down to this. I've heard a lot of people say that, it's hard to identify it. It's not. This is one of the best things that I would recommend for everyone who is trying to identify the story for their startup or for their fund, or I see a CPA on for your accounting firm. When you go to a cocktail party, what story do you like to tell about your business, about your service, about your product? What is the story that gets people's ears? If you're at a cocktail party and you're telling a story and they're listening, there's a good chance there may be someone else interested in that story, like a journalist. So that's the first thing, is just simplify it. What is the interesting angle about my business that will get people's attention? This right here is the science behind it, if there is a science behind identifying the stories. Who, what, where, when, why, how, and who. If I was taking notes here, I would write these down I'd write these down. Who, what, where, when, and why. The reason why those matters is just ask yourself and apply it to your own business. Who is this story about? What makes this business, what makes your tech startup interesting? What makes your fund interesting? What is timely about it? You have to, obviously there's different people from a couple of different sectors, but you can still apply the same thing to your business when it comes to branding your product or branding your startup with the media. Where is this taking place? Questions to ask. I advise an incubator, a tech incubator, a lot of tech startups in Ukraine. Right now they're in the middle of conflict. There's a great story right there about a startup that is surviving this conflict and the business is still going on. Even though there's everything going on in Ukraine, we're reading about it in the news, no one is hearing about those businesses that keep going. Well, that's actually a narrative that is worth pursuing. Why do you care? Why do we care? Why will the media care? As silly as it sounds, that's one of the things you're going to have to identify.